I see Commissioner Moriarty. Who else do we have?
Frank Tees is here, Mr. Mayor.
I see Commissioner Tees. How about Commissioner Pappas or Commissioner Shoneman? Commissioner Pappas? We're going to call the meeting of the Board of Public Works to order on Thursday, May 28th, 2020. And of course, because we're operating under special rules pursuant to state emergency orders, I need to set forth our procedure. As chairperson of the Board of Public Works, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are, first, providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing WebEx through the city's IT department for this electronic meeting. All members of the Board of Public Works have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform. And the public has access to contemporaneously listen to this meeting through dialing the following number: area code 978-990-5298. And by using the access code 273974. Second, providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. Previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public posting. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall. Third, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anybody has a problem accessing the meeting via phone, please call area code 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. Fourth, adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the phone number mentioned above, The meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, they should state why they are not physically present for the meeting, and they should also please state whether there is anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. I think we've covered, oh, you may also submit your comments. People can submit their comments via email, which will be accepted and placed on file with the minutes of the meeting. Please email your comments to bpwcommissioners@nashua.nh.gov. All right, so with that, I think we can call the roll.
Mayor Donches,
Here, and I am exercising social distancing pursuant to the governor's emergency order. And in addition, I am able to hear people, and I'm in my living room by myself.
Commissioner Tease,
I'm present. I'm attending remotely due to the governor's orders. I'm in my office in a closed, with the door closed. Nobody else is present.
Commissioner Pappas,
I am at home, and I am at home due to the governor's order, and I am at home, and I'm in a room currently by myself. Mr. Mayor, I don't know if I should mention, I got a call from a resident today. I'm not sure that we had the number posted on the, I haven't checked myself because my internet's not working very well, but I was told that I was called because the resident number to call in wasn't on the internet. I didn't check it myself, so I'm uncertain of that, and I don't know if that's going to impact us.
Commissioner Pappas, let's just get through the roll call and then let's try to investigate that question.
Okay.
So we still have not reached Commissioner Schoen. So could you please complete the roll call?
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes, I am here, sitting in my private office. I am complying with the governor's executive order of social distancing. There's no way I'm else here.
Commissioner Schoeneman,
I'm here. I'm attending remotely due to the governor's orders, and I am in my home, and I'm alone in this room.
So now Commissioner Pappas has raised an issue regarding whether the phone number is working. And I think, Commissioner Pappas, you are talking about someone who wants to call and access the meeting contemporaneously.
No,
supposed to call
I was, no, I was,
603.
oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So what I was going to say is I don't know. I got a call from someone that said it wasn't posted on the website. I know I can only call in by landline phone because I have really bad phone access down here, and I have too many people using my internet. My internet's not strong enough. So that's why I always use the regular phone number, and I had texted the director to get the call-in number, and she was kind enough to also send the resident number. And so and I can't mute my phone, by the way. That's why I left the room. So I got a call from a resident today that said, you have the resident number. It's not posted on the city website. So
All
I
right,
don't know if that's the
and
case
that
or
was,
not.
that's the second item that I read, providing public notice of the necessary information. We say in there that this number is on the city website. Can someone check to see if it is on the city website or if it's not right now? Does Director Photo or Diane have a computer
Diane,
or something?
can you double check your postings to make sure that it's there?
I didn't check it myself, so I will say that.
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
while we're waiting, should we recognize our aldermanic liaison?
Yes, I'm sorry for not doing that. Got distracted here. I want to recognize that Aldermanic Liaison Alderman Michael Ryan is present. I don't know if anyone else from the Board of Aldermen is here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am present. I can hear the proceedings, and thank you, Mr. Tees, Commissioner Tees, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And I don't know, is there anyone else from the Board of Aldermen that's part of the meeting? I don't see anyone. Just Alderman O'Brien.
I was just going to say, I was able to give because when I asked for our call-in number, the director did give me the public call-in number, so I was able to give that, but I didn't know how, I didn't,
Someone is checking now, right?
okay.
It's Diane. Diane, can you confirm where it is on the website? I do know it's posted at our office, and it's also posted at City Hall. That I do know for sure. And Diane just said that it's there on the website too. Diane, can you confirm where it is? It's on the calendar, Commissioner Pappas.
Okay.
All right, so it sounds like.
I apologize. I just didn't want us to have to redo a meeting. That's the only reason I brought it up. I'm sorry.
Yep, no problem. It's always good to
No
check.
problem. We don't want to have to redo the meeting.
Yeah, all right, thank you. And I apologize for interrupting.
No problem. All right, so I think we've straightened that out. We've done the roll call. So the next item to come up is the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I will. But before I say it, in order not to have uncomfortable pauses, because I know the people that can mute, and I'm willing to go ahead and read from that motion through the end of the first page, if that's helpful. So I will move to approve the minutes of the Board of Public Works meeting of April 29th, 2020.
Is there any discussion? Diane, could you please call the roll?
Oh, we did.
Mayor Donches.
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas.
Yes.
Commissioner Tees.
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty.
Yes.
Commissioner Schoeneman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
The next item is the minutes of the Board of Public Works from April 29.
I'm happy to do that. I just got a text saying that it's not on the calendar. I don't know if anyone checked the city website, and I apologize if I'm interrupting again.
I'm looking at the website, and the link for this meeting has the agenda, but it does not have the call-in phone number. And I've looked at the calendar, and the meeting isn't on the calendar.
They said, okay, the person said it's there now.
That's interesting because I'm on the calendar right now and it's here. And it says call and the access code.
Okay, the person, okay, I apologize.
Can you walk through from the homepage to where you found the number?
I think they said it just got put up now. That's the information that I got. I don't know when it was placed up. And I apologize if I interrupted again.
It was posted, Diane, I don't know if you want to comment, but I believe it was posted Friday onto the calendar. Is that correct? Diane?
Hi. It looks like it wasn't posted properly.
How is that? What do you mean by that?
I made the changes, but it didn't seem to have written.
Is it under community events?
Why am I looking at it? Is this the wrong information that I'm looking at? Is that what you're saying?
The information that's on there is correct right now.
Do we have a sense as
But
when
you're
it's
saying it
posted?
didn't go up till just recently, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so it was posted, it was posted properly.
I'm going to take a brief time out and hopefully talk to someone about this issue. Just a
Thank
second.
you.
Lisa, maybe you can play some music to keep us going.
Ah,
I was going to say we all make mistakes. That's what I was going to say. And my son was getting very excited talking to someone on the phone, and he just paid me back for when I didn't know he was doing a presentation. And I said I had a big note not to let the dog up because someone was going to clean my furnace, and I said, "Can you not read? Who let the dog out?" And he was in the middle of a presentation, so I think he just paid me back. If anyone heard him very excitedly talking to a friend, I don't know if that could be heard in the background because I can't mute my
All
phone.
right. I tried to call the city attorney. I'm not able to reach him at this moment. Now, our difficulty is that I don't know if this particular notice on the website is legally required or not, but I know it has to
Understood.
be posted in certain fashion. I don't know if this is one of the simply a non-required but additional notice we're trying to provide, or if this website notice is required by the governor's emergency order. So,
right. My understanding, Mayor, was that it needs to be posted in two places, which it was. It was posted both at City Hall and at DPW Administration and Engineering. It was posted in those two places. That
Okay.
I'm certain of.
well, how certain of you are the fact? But the problem is, I have said that it was posted on the website, and that statement may have been in error. So,
That may have been.
what does the board want to do? You want to redo the meeting? I mean, you want to redo the meeting and correct this deficiency on another day? Or do you want to proceed and with at least something within the realm of possibility, we'd have to do the meeting over again? Does anybody have any thoughts on this?
My reply is I just don't know what to do. I mean, my reply is I just don't know.
All right, anybody else have any thoughts?
I would,
Should we restart the meeting from now? Go right back to the beginning?
Well, if there's a requirement, I mean, I think we're okay, but we've said this. Here's the issue. If this is a required posting now doesn't correct the deficiency because it has to be posted a certain amount of time before the meeting. So if this is a required posting, and we've now discovered that, even though we've said that it was there, it wasn't. I'm not, fine, a mistake was made. I'm not, but the question now is what should we do? And I guess since we've already had to hold one meeting a second, I guess my inclination is, all right, if I can't reach the city attorney, that we reschedule the meeting. And we determine if this is necessary or not, and we make sure it's right next time. Does anyone disagree with that?
I don't know, and I apologize. I mean, I know that I was the one that brought it up, but I know how tough things are, and I really do hate to waste, to waste time and effort and energy. I think the last time, and again, I'm kind of looking, the last time I think we got in a little bit of trouble that the number one, the number didn't work, and number two, we didn't post the stuff.
Last time there was a different technical problem, but without legal advice, we don't know if this is a required meeting. The required posting. Now, the trouble is, Commissioner Pappas, you did raise it, and we investigated. We found out that you're right. That it wasn't properly on the website. So I'm saying, well, does Commissioner Tease or Commissioner Moriarty, who have not spoken on this, have any thoughts?
I concur with what you said, Mayor, and think, given the uncertainty and the value of everyone's time, that we ought to repost and redo the meeting.
All right, Commissioner Moriarty, do you have any?
Yeah, I agree, Mayor. I agree with you.
All right, so we're gonna cancel the meeting. We're gonna repost it, and we're gonna reschedule.
Mayor, I did get a hold of Celia Leonard, and she's going to be calling me right back. Do you want to just wait a second for her to call us back to let us know if we're okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Okay. She's calling me. She's just
Well, now Bolton has called me back, so I'm gonna put you on mute.
Okay.
All right, so here's what I got from Steve Bolton, city attorney. He says, first of all, it has to be posted in 2 places. Was that done? Director Photo?
It was posted at both, and Andy Patrician, I'm gonna ask to confirm because he put the postings. I did see that it was definitely posted, at Administration Engineering. I, saw the posting. Andy, you can also confirm that you posted it at City Hall? Andy?
Yeah, trying to find the mute button. Yes, it was posted at City Hall in both places, both back doors and the side door of City Hall.
All right, so Attorney Bolton's opinion is that he believes, or he's holds the
Better have
view.
posted that asshole. Send me a picture now.
You shouldn't be
Andy,
swearing on the
you're not,
meeting.
Oh, well, we all make mistakes.
So, excuse me, Attorney Bolton's view is that as long as it's two places, that satisfies the law. But he says, we have suggested it was on the website. So if you want to be extra cautious, would someone challenge it? Who knows, right? If you want to be extra cautious, you reschedule. But in his view, two places is enough. Now, does anybody have any thoughts given that opinion?
I'm willing to roll the dice. I think he's a good legal counsel. He's been doing this for a lot of years.
Anybody
So
else?
I'm
Anybody else?
I would move to proceed with the meeting.
All right. All right, then let's proceed. We probably are fine. So, all right. Where were we? We were on, weren't we on the minutes?
Yep,
Did you make a
I'll
motion,
move.
Commissioner Pappas?
Certainly. I'll move to approve the minutes of the Board of Public Works meeting of April 29th, 2020.
Any discussion? If not, let's call the roll.
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes,
Commissioner Shoneman.
Yes.
Motion passes and we've approved the minutes. We're now on to engineering. Item A.
I'll move to approve residential and commercial wastewater service permits and fees as submitted.
Discussion? Could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
yes,
Commissioner Shoneman.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item B is
I'll
a
move to
presentation,
Oh, I'm
is a
sorry.
presentation, I believe.
So we're not going to vote on it tonight? Oh.
I think it's just an idea and a proposal. Is that correct, Director Photo?
That's correct. This is actually not something that needs to be voted upon. This is something that was approved by the Board of Aldermen, and we have made just a few minor changes to it, and we wanted to have a public forum. We were going to have a neighborhood meeting, but that was difficult to do given the circumstances. So we thought that this would be a good forum for residents to be able to see the changes. And again, they're minor changes, but it just makes the intersection a little more safe. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Engineer Hudson, and he's going to show you what the plan is.
Can I ask one quick question?
Yes.
Do you know if we're live? If I turn on my TV and put it on mute, will I be able to see? Will I be able to see the presentation or not?
I'm not sure.
We are not live.
We're not live. I think it's being recorded and is going to be played later.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Hudson is going to proceed.
Thank you. Mr.
Oh, wait,
Excuse me,
wait,
Mr. Mayor?
wait, let me stop things.
Sure.
The TV is on in the other room. I can hear the meeting. It seems
Okay.
like we are live.
Oh,
Okay,
And,
all right, then I'll go ahead and turn on my TV and then quickly turn it on mute. Thank you.
All right. Somebody told us it wasn't going to be live, but it is. All
Okay.
right, so Mr. Hudson, could you proceed?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to attempt to share my screen and hopefully people will be able to see the presentation.
Okay,
So let me know or confirm that you can see it and I'll proceed.
I can see it. Can anybody not see it? All
Okay.
right, please go ahead.
Okay, great. So, as indicated, we have looked at the intersection of Pine Hill Road and Sharon Avenue to see what the existing conditions are and if there's improvements that can be made. So that was the goal of the study. We completed in-house, review the operation, see what we can do to improve them. This is an aerial view of the existing intersection. Pine Hill Road is going left to right on the screen. There are single lane approaches on each direction there. There is not a stop condition, so that's a free flowing movement. They proceed through at will. Sharon Ave approach coming down from the top of the screen is a 2-lane approach to separate left and right turn lanes, and that's under stop control. So we did some traffic counts during the AM and PM peak hours. I'm going to run a couple of simulations that Julie Chismis helped us with in community development.
Can I ask a quick question? I just wanted to double check. So I assume the simulations were done before we had people staying home, right?
Correct. Yeah, these are
Okay, thank you.
based upon traffic conditions from last year, I believe. So this simulation is running the car, and it's running faster than real time, but and cars are colored differently, which way they're turning or if they're going through. So that was the AM. You probably noticed that traffic on Sharon Ave has to wait until there's gap and Hill Road traffic stream to enter. This is the PM condition, and I'm going to let that run. And you can see Pine Hill Road is free flowing. You can see the left turn from Sharon is waiting and waiting. And additional people are showing up and they're waiting and waiting. And they can't find a suitable gap in the traffic stream to be able to enter. So the queue there continues to build. People wait a long time, and then the concern is they get impatient and it's a gap in the traffic stream that maybe they shouldn't because it's too short. So now that there's a gap, you can see people can go, and a few cars went, and a few cars still got stuck. So that kind of represents the existing condition. As I said, it's a 3-way intersection, stop, control, and Sharon Ave. And things that sight distance, Sharon. It's a little bit hard to see. Left turns onto Sharon. At sometimes you could see on Pine Hill Road, even the turns from Pine Hill, even though that's supposed to be a free movement, they have to wait for traffic from the other direction. So at times that's even a difficult move to make. And then as noted, there's insufficient gaps in Pine Hill Road traffic to allow those on Sharon Ave to exit onto Pine Hill Road, and left turns in particular are problematic. So whenever we look at something, we look at the existing conditions, which you just saw, and then we evaluated it at this location, an all-way stop. When we implement traffic controls, we try to do that on a progressive basis, looking at what the next most logical thing would be. And here it will be implementing an all-way stop. So here's a diagram of what that might look like. No changes on Sharon Avenue. You still have the 2 lanes. You still have the stop condition on that approach. But on Pine Hill Road, we would add stop bars on each approach. So they will be under stop control. And then as an always stop intersection works, there's alternating traffic, whoever arrives whoever arrived first has the right of way, and then the other moves and so on and so forth. So here's a traffic simulation in the AM peak hour. Same traffic as we ran under the existing condition. You can see there's some queues on Pine Hill Road, but they're rolling. They come up and stop, they go. But Sharon Ave traffic is much improved because they actually have an opportunity to enter Pine Hill Road. So I'll just let this run and then. So the trade-off you're making under this scenario, you're stopping people on Pine Hill Road and that allows Sharon Ave to exit. So there's a trade-off. People on Pine Hill, in one sense will be delayed. In another sense, it's somewhat of a traffic calming thing. This is the PM peak. And you see the same thing, there's arrivals constantly at the intersection. There's what I call a rolling queue of traffic on Pine Hill. People continue to move. It's not like they get stopped there for a long period of time, but they do have to stop and then go. And on Sharon Ave, there's not that long queue that we were looking at before. So although there are some delays added on Pine Hill, those are much shorter than what was experienced on Sharon Ave, and everybody keeps moving, which should provide a safer operation. So in summary, there's less potential for severe accidents under this scenario. The worst thing is when somebody pulls out and in front of somebody going high speed and T-bones them, which is, a situation under the existing condition that's a concern. The sight distance constraints are mitigated by Pine Hill Road having to stop. This treatment is low, moderate cost to implement. It requires adding some signage. We would have advanced stop ahead warning signs, and then we would have stop signs at the intersection. And we'll look at other things to kind of enhance that stop, such as some blinking lights on the stop signs or something like that to really draw attention to it. The advantage is it shortens traffic queues in Sharon Ave significantly. And we're intending to implement this summer. And the legislation for the all-way stop has already been approved. And so our recommendation would be to proceed with this treatment. With that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Mr. Mayor, if I can.
Sorry, I was muted. Commissioner Pappas.
Okay, so my comment is I think that, this is definitely a problem area, and I think that, certainly that seems like a very logical response to it. I guess the comment question, I think starting in the summer is good. We get people there who go there every day, are used to it. Depending on when or if we start the schools or when things start gradually getting back in, I think I don't know, the director probably knows how many signs we have, to announce, like if we have, when we're having lane closures and that kind of thing, we do have a couple of signs that, number one, I would imagine before we put the stop sign up, in the summer of this summer, I think we should certainly try to advertise it in advance as much as we can. But then if and when, things start gradually opening up more, as soon as you're expecting more traffic, that we might implement that, temporary signage, just a reminder that it's now a four-way stop. I don't know if that might be helpful.
Yes, that's our intention, is definitely to advertise it ahead of time and draw attention to it through the use of some message boards or things like that, because it is a new condition, and anytime you introduce a new condition, you definitely want to draw attention to it. So that is our intention.
Because I think that makes a lot of sense. That's definitely a problem intersection. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments regarding the presentation? All right, before we go to item C, while we're on the issue of presentation, I meant to mention at the beginning of the meeting, something which I will mention now, which is that across the country, various park rec departments are talking about what to do with pools and camps. And this is also being discussed in Manchester, around New Hampshire. There's a lot of thought being put into it, but I know at least one or more commissioners had asked about this. So if you would like, we could hold a meeting, special meeting of some kind, where we could bring in Bobby Bagley, the public health, and any others who could offer relevant thoughts and update you on what their thinking is and what is being discussed and decided, at least in other locations around the state and the nation.
I would certainly support that, Mr. Mayor. I had a conversation with the director. We're kind of in a hand-wringing situation where, as to what to do. And I think that Director Bagley certainly is a fact-oriented person. And, and she carries a tremendous amount of respect. And I would certainly welcome that. I would welcome a presentation the time when it fits into, people's schedule. I think it's terrific. Thank you.
All right, we'll work on putting that together. So, I won't, let's not digress into this too long, but there are a lot of considerations. You got to be really careful if you're going to do something. There is the risk of spread. So you'll hear all of it when we have that meeting. All right, so let's go back to the agenda. We're now on item C under engineering.
Okay, I move to approve the award of the construction contract for the 2020 Pavement Preservation Program, crack sealing to Seal Coating, Inc. of Braintree, Mass. In the amount of $242,477. Funding is through Department 160 Admin Engineering Fund Bond Activity Paving.
Is there discussion or questions regarding that item, or does Mr. Hudson wish to elaborate?
Yes, real quickly, Mr. Mayor, I just say that this is something that we do every year. This is to preserve roads that are still in fairly good condition but have some cracking. And this is the same company that won the award previously, and they won it again in this bid. Our intention is crack seal about 34 miles of streets, or about 175 streets, to keep them in good condition.
Okay. Questions, comments?
My comment would be that I think, Mr. Mayor, when you put in your paving program and included the crack sealing, I don't think that we used to do that. I don't think we've really ever done that, and I just think that it's a good cost-saving measure, so that we don't have to totally repave or reclaim roads. And I think that it's money well spent. Thank you.
It's very cost effective. Last year was the first year we did it in a big way, but very cost effective in the sense that, we're doing 34 miles of streets for 242,000. So it's about $8,000 a mile. Paving costs many, many, many times that. So this preserves the street, not as long as paving, but certainly this is definitely money well spent.
I agree.
Any other comments or questions regarding item C? All right, Diane, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donchis,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Schoenman,
Yes.
Motion passes. Item D.
I'll move to approve the award of the construction contract for the 2020 sidewalk program to RWC Enterprise of Nashua in the amount of $171,759. Funding is through Department 161 Streets Fund Capital Activities, Sidewalk Improvements, and City Infrastructure Improvements.
Mr. Hudson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a program for 2020. Sidewalk improvements, as noted, the planned work is on East Hollis Street between CVS and Cooper Avenue. And those are concrete sidewalks. The existing sidewalks are in poor condition. They've been patched over the years, but they really need to be replaced. So this is a contract that we bid. We received one from RWC, local contractor, and we're recommending award to them.
Anybody have anything on this? Diane, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
Yes.
Motion passes. Item E.
I'll move to approve change order 1 to the 2020 sewer replacement project with SUR Construction West, Inc. of Winchester, New Hampshire, in the amount not to exceed $975,125. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund Bond Activity Sewer Repair.
Mr. Hudson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is, as noted, a change order to the contract that was bid out earlier this year. SUR Construction West was the awarded that project. This is for additional sections of sewer main that need to be replaced. We discovered that these needed to be replaced after that original bid, so they weren't in that previous bid. There's 3 streets in particular that need attention: Water Street, Amherst Street, and Main Street near the, between Hollis Street and Mulberry Street. Some of these mains have seen the plate on the road at Main and West Hollis. That's collapsed a couple times. We really need to get in there and fix this. These pipes all date back to prior to 1900, so certainly got our use. So this change order proposes to expand SUR's project to include this work. We line pipes and we have a good program of doing that, but still we have to actually dig up and replace pipes when they are in this state of disrepair. So we recommend that this change order be approved to SUR.
Anybody have comments? Diane, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
Yes.
Motion passes. Now we are on item F.
I'll move to approve change order number 2 to the 2019 paving contract with Brock's Industries of Dracut, Mass. in an amount not to exceed $94,510 for the construction of ADA compliant sidewalks on South Main Street. Funding through the Southwest Quadrant Fund. Funding is through Department 160, Admin Engineering Fund, Trust, Account Category 54, Property Services.
Discussion? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Hudson?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this change order, although it's to the 2019 paving program, it's actually for sidewalk work. Brock's is completing some work for 2019. One of the things they're doing is they're paving the roundabout, which is near Riviera College, or university, sorry. There's sidewalk there, but it's not ADA compliant in the sense that it's warnings, the ramps aren't the proper grade, the cross aren't the proper grade, and since the time it's been there, it's also cracked quite severely, so it's in disrepair. So this change order would enable Brock's to repair that under the quadrant funds before they final pave that intersection. So that's the request, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Anybody questions, comments?
I just would have one comment and then two comments. Number one, I would like someone to explain what the quadrant funds are. And number two, a couple of years ago, I think I've always been an advocate. So my understanding is quadrant funds are paid by developers who want to develop areas, and rather than just have like 2 feet of sidewalk in one particular spot, they would agree to put money into a fund. And I would love to see legislation to in some ways make it a requirement for developers to put money into quadrant funds for sidewalks, because I think that having more sidewalks, making it a more livable city is a good thing. And I think it's a good, it's a respite from the taxpayers that if they get some outside funds to help out with sidewalks. Thank you.
So yes, you're correct that when a project like a single family development or something like that is done, sometimes the developer doesn't really believe it would be very necessary or even useful to put in a sidewalk. And instead, the developer proposes that they contribute money into to build sidewalks elsewhere. And the decision is up to the planning board. Right now, the planning board can either say build the sidewalk as required, or they can waive it entirely, or waive it and require a contribution into the so-called quadrant fund. And what the quadrant fund is the city is divided into 4 quadrants, hence the word quadrant. And the money from that is collected in each quadrant needs to be spent in that quadrant. And the idea is that there needs to be some degree of proximity between funds and the public improvements, public sidewalks that are built using the fund. So this is how the quadrant funds work, and this would be money from I guess that this is the southeast quadrant, and this is how the system works.
So,
But
I guess
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I interrupted. I apologize.
Go ahead. I forgot even what I was going to say, so go ahead.
Oh, so I was going to put a bug in the ear of our liaison. I would love to see it not be an option that if you're going to put in some kind of a new development, I think I think that requiring some kind of a contribution to a sidewalk quadrant fund, I think would really be very helpful in the city to the view we've had of have more of a walking and biking sort of area. I think that would be helpful, and I think it would help take some of the load off of the taxpayers. But so as I said, I just thought I'd take that opportunity to put the bug in the ear of our member of the Board of Aldermen that's his liaison. Thank you.
Yeah, Alderman O'Brien here. Thank you, Commissioner Pappas. Duly noted. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything on item F? Diane, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tees,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Schoenman,
Yes.
Motion passes. Item G.
I'll move to approve the hardship request for Liberty Utilities for the excavation to repair 3 grade 2 leaks located at 135 East Hobart Street, 29 Dickens Street, and Canal Street at 1 Amory Street.
Mr. Hudson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Seems like we have a meeting, but again, these are grade 2 leaks that were discovered on paved within the last 5 years. I had explained previously, even Liberty Utilities works with us. They go out and they check before a paving project, but and they make repairs to any leaks they find. Even so, we still do after the fact, unfortunately. So this request here is for work on 3 streets as noted. And I believe there's Liberty Utilities rep on this meeting. If anyone has any questions for them, I'm certainly not the gas leak expert. So we ask them to join if anybody has any questions about that.
Is there anyone from Liberty Utilities on this meeting?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Could you identify yourself, please?
Yes, hi, thank you for having us on. My name is Jefferson Guile, the manager of gas operations in New Hampshire. And on the line with me is my boss, the director of operations of all of New Hampshire. So we're here to answer any questions you may have. If a rundown of what our procedures are or any questions that you have, we're here for you.
I just have one. What is a grade 2 leak?
So a grade 2 leak is a leak we detect that doesn't have to be repaired immediately. We have grade 1 leaks that if it's up against the building or it's going to cause a hazard, we would have to call it an emergency and fix it that day. A grade 2 leak is anything 5% and larger in the street, percent gas. For the Public Utilities Commission, we have to fix that within 6 months. And in between the repairs, we have to monitor it every 30 days just to make sure it doesn't get any larger or get any closer to any buildings or cause a threat. We continuously monitor throughout the winter. You've probably seen our trucks driving around with the cones on. We continuously survey to make sure that we do not, obviously that our number one goal is not to have any gas leaks or any explosions. So that leak, grade 2, we'll have to fix within 6 months.
Okay, any questions, any other questions from anyone else? Comments from the commissioners?
I have a comment, Mayor.
Commissioner Moriarty.
Just as a note of clarification, on a letter in our agenda from Liberty Utilities, Brad Marks states that grade 2 leaks have to be completed within 1 year and not 6 months. So I don't know, there's a difference of 6 months there.
From the day that it's discovered, it has to be repaired within 6 months or within that year, that calendar year. So if say we get a leak in the beginning of December, we have to actually have it done by that calendar year. Oh,
So you're saying within the calendar year, but a maximum of 6 months.
correct. Right.
Thank you.
We continuously, especially the streets that you guys have been great, with the public, the DPW getting us the streets that are on the pavement. We continuously survey those all winter, and we find the leaks and we repair them. Unfortunately, with the New Hampshire weather, we do everything we can. Obviously, we don't want to dig in any streets because it's a cost for us and it's a very expensive cost. And the last thing we want to do, so we really diligently go out and make sure, and you can ask Dan, he knows this. We work with all the paving crews and try to get those leaks fixed before they pave. Unfortunately, winter comes, the pipes move, and just like anything, if a sewer or water breaks after a street's paved, we really spend the time so we don't have to go out and fix a new street. That's the last thing that we would want to do.
How deep are the pipes typically?
Typically 3 feet, 3 to 4 feet, and then sometimes they can be deeper, and sometimes, some of them, if you cut the road down, maybe they're only 2 feet, but most of them are 3 feet deep. So if the frost does go down, it does affect our fittings in the pipe. And we are replacing a lot of the older pipe, the old cast iron pipe. As you know, all the projects on some of the sewer works, we replaced some of the real pipe. But the pipes, some of the pipe that we have that's code, the pipe is in great condition. It's just some of the fittings that that move around underground, they'll start leaking if the frost moves. We definitely try to find them before you pave. And you can ask Dan, we've repaired numerous amount of leaks before you pave the street. So that come up as a hardship are the ones, that just came up that we couldn't, detect. I mean, we didn't detect. And then they just come back and during the winter.
All right, anybody else got questions or comments about item G?
Well, I guess my only comment is I'm probably the biggest curmudgeon about cutting into roads, and I really don't grant hardship, hardship requests unless it's gas, just because we've seen some pretty disastrous outcomes. So that's pretty much the only reason that I'm willing to. Gas leaks, or the only reason that I would be willing to grant a hardship. Thank you.
Anyone else? Diane, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yeah, yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Schoenman,
Yes.
Motion passes. Item H.
I'll move to approve a use and occupancy agreement for the placement of identification sign in the city right-of-way for 130 Spitbrook Road, which is Grace Lutheran Church.
I think this is pretty explanatory, but Mr. Hudson, do you have anything you want to add?
Mr. Mayor, I would just add that the right-of-way there is quite wide, so they have a sign, but it's a long way from the actual roadway due to the width of the right-of-way. So this is a request to put it in the right-of-way, and we have no objection.
So this would simply say, this is Grace Lutheran Church, right? I mean, it's a sign that identifies their.
Yeah, they did go to ZBA to get the necessary variances. I know they had requested an electronic sign, which wasn't approved, an electronic message sign. So this would just be a sign that says Grace Lutheran.
Any questions, comments? Diane, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Schoenman,
Yes.
Motion passes. Item I.
I'll move to consider the hardship request from Liberty Utilities to excavate in a 5-year moratorium street Major Drive for installation of a gas main.
Mr. Hudson? Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is, as noted, to install a gas main in Major Drive. The portion that was paved, that's in the moratorium that we're talking about, was an apron, a paved apron on the approach to Burke Street. So as part of the Burke Street paving, they carried the apron into Major Drive, and that's the area we're talking about. This work is being done to support city's paving project on Major Drive. And they're replacing the existing main with a 2-inch plastic main. So for those reasons, we ask you to consider approving this hardship.
So Major Drive wasn't paved except for the fact that there's a junction with Burke Street, which was paved.
Correct, but Major Drive is being paved this year, and they've installed the main there. This would allow them to complete the work and carry it to Burke Street, basically, to last a little bit. And I'm sure we will work with them. It will probably take a contribution from them to do the city will pave over this trench that they do as part of the Major Drive paving.
Any comments or questions either for Mr. Hudson or for Liberty Utilities?
Wasn't Burke Street
It's paved
Oh,
3-4
November
years ago.
2016, yeah.
It was paved a few years back.
All right, that was
It a major project.
2016.
Remember that whole thing? It was, but I
Yeah,
think Mr. Hudson is saying really Burke Street's not being interrupted. It's just what he's calling the apron, the connection that was of the paving that was sort of extended, I don't know, 10 feet into, that's a guess, but 10 feet, 20 feet into Major Drive, that type of thing.
That's correct.
but Burke Street was paved in 2016, is that right?
That sounds right, yes.
All right. I normally, unless it's a leak, I really don't like to approve these. But if it was done in 2016, my recollection is that if we cut into a road, the major damage is done the first, like maybe 2, 3, anywhere between 1 and 3, 4 years. So since it's coming to the end of 2016, and you're saying that they're doing it so that they don't have to cut into major drive, is that correct? Once it's
It
paved?
allows them to complete, yeah, sorry, Commissioner Pappas. It allows them to complete that work. They were doing some work on Major Drive, and this allows them to finish it basically into the apron, which was paved within the last 5 years.
All right, so we have no plans to pave Major Drive? Is that something I misunderstood?
No, we do. We do plan to pave Major Drive
Okay.
this year,
So
actually.
Okay, so that will, let me ask you this, so that will stop, so they're doing it so that they don't have to cut into Major Drive, is that the?
No, they're doing Major Drive work because they know we're gonna pave and they want to take care of the gas main ahead of that. This is
Okay.
just a 55-foot long section that was a paved apron that was done in 2016, on the Burke approach. This little segment is part of a larger project they're doing.
Okay,
But they're doing that because we're gonna pave Major Drive.
okay. All right, thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
So Dan, this is Jeff from Liberty. So what I understand is we're not going to get into Burke Street. We're just going to be in the Major Drive, correct?
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
understanding. Looking at the figure that was provided, basically it runs up to the edge of Burke Street. It looks like when Burke Street was done, there's a gas stub there. So it looks like it ties in outside of Burke Street.
Okay. I just was talking to Tony Beeland about it, and yeah, that's so be taken care of through the Major Drive paving. Just cut it, finish that apron in, and it'll tie right in.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Diane, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Dantis,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes,
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, wastewater. Is Mr. Boucher on here? Boucher?
Yes, I am, Mr. Mayor.
Could you, excuse me, who's going to make the motion on item A?
I'll move to approve the FY21 purchase of polymer from Polydyne of Riceboro, Georgia, in the amount of $412,000. Funding will be through Department 169 wastewater fund, wastewater account classification 61 supplies and materials.
Mr. Boucher?
This is David Boucher, wastewater superintendent. This is for the purchase of 2 different types of polymer for 2 different processes at the wastewater plant. It's to aid in the removal of water from sludge. These are processes that run daily, and this is for the estimated annual cost for the FY21 period for these 2 polymers.
Anybody have comments, questions? Diane, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Dontis,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
Yes.
Motion passes. We're now on to administration, item A. Is there a motion on this? We usually begin discussion with a motion.
Okay, I'll move to accept the proposal that during the COVID-19 pandemic, public comments be sent via email to the address on the City Nashua website, DPW's Commissioner at Nashua, New Hampshire.gov. We will request that the comments be no more than one page of standard 12-point font. Comments should be included in the agenda packet to be read by the board during the usual public comment period in the early part of each virtual meeting.
I guess as I've thought about this, that at least I think we should just handle email during the pandemic here while we're in this remote universe, that we should simply handle this the way other boards do, which is to accept these comments, put them on the agenda, place them on file, rather than read them. The Board of Aldermen is getting many, and it could take, hours to read it all. And we could encounter the same thing. But I do have a question. Who would read this under the proposal?
I would think whoever whoever reads the agenda is happy to read. I would be happy to read it. I don't remember ever getting a deluge of public comment. Unless we have.
Excuse me. Sorry, I interrupted.
I'm sorry. I don't recall, other than if we've had a park issue or that sort of thing. I can't recall getting like tons and tons and tons of this from the public, and I think it's really important to engage the public. During the pandemic, they're unable to. They're unable to go to meetings. They're unable to comment. And the city of Manchester actually allows. I think that people can go in and they have the microphone open. At City Hall, even though the meetings aren't at City Hall. I think people are able to do. To do so virtually. So I've never minded the public comment portions of our meetings. That's my view.
So the last agenda, when the alderman opened this up to this procedure in the last meeting, there were maybe 20 different communications. It probably would have taken at least an hour to read them. Several from individuals, like one person would submit more than one. It would have taken forever. In any event, although I appreciate the thought and certainly agree with the sentiment that public opinion is important, I can't support this. And while the pandemic is still going on, and while we're trying to do all this remotely, but if this fails, we'll offer the motion that we accept communications, we put them on the agenda and attach them to the agenda so anybody who wishes can read them. And so they're publicly available, but they're just not read out loud during the meeting. In any event, is there any further discussion by anyone?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Commissioner Tease.
I just want to ensure, if we go that route, that we are not precluded from, so for instance, if one of those communications is critical, that we're not precluded from bringing it up during commissioners' comments or something like that.
No, I don't think Now, we
Thank
would
you.
ask you to limit this to some reasonable period of time, but yes, a commissioner, I suppose, on their own time could say anything, including read someone's comments.
Thank you.
I would like to comment.
We're not gonna, I mean, I don't think we should or can really prevent or in any way prohibit a commissioner from saying what they think is appropriate. But only please not for an hour. So,
Well, we
is
just,
there any further comment? Any further comment on
Commissioner
this?
Shoneman just said, before you spoke for a second time, Commissioner Shoneman had said she would like to speak.
Well,
I
I
heard her. I
didn't
don't know
hear
if
that,
anyone.
so I'd be glad to call on Commissioner Shoneman. I'm trying to get people to speak. Commissioner Shoneman.
Okay. I agree with Commissioner Pappas on this. Public comment is important. I don't think we have any reason to shy away from it. We're not the Board of Aldermen. We don't have the level of the same issues. We don't have generally the same amount of public comment. So if we ask the public comment to be kept short and concise, one submission per person, per meeting, one page, it's not an unreasonable request. And I think that having their voice heard with a literal voice, I think would be respectful.
Anyone else?
Mayor, yes.
Commissioner Moriarty.
Actually, I am leaning towards following the lead of the Board of Aldermen on this. I think we are linked in many ways with the Board of Aldermen, and I would follow their lead on this during the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you.
I fully agree with what Commissioner Shoneman had stated, and it was in a very eloquent way to literally give the voice to public comment. And, as I've said at least a couple of times, I mean, why are we here? And I don't think that people who don't want to hear from the public should be running for office. I've never seen a deluge. Before you were on, Mr. Mayor, we had a couple of issues that we may have had a lot of public comment that showed up, and we sat there and we listened, and that's part of being. That's part of representing the public, and I will be supporting this. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I would also like to say that taking public comment in an email form and filing it away or attaching it to the agenda doesn't seem to me to be really having the public comment come out. It seems like hiding it away. That's all.
Anyone else? All right, so the motion is to accept the proposal as expressed in the email written by Commissioner Shoneman. Could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donchis,
No.
Commissioner Tease,
No?
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
No.
Commissioner Shoneman.
Yes.
Motion fails 3-2. So I move that the Board of Public Works welcomes public comment, but during the pandemic wishes to include it as an agenda item for the first time and attach all such communications to the agenda for any member of the public to view and understand what these communications are.
Can I ask one question for you, Mr. Mayor? Thank you. So I appreciate that, but sometimes there are deadlines and that sort of thing. So let's say that someone misses a deadline, let's say that they want to put in a comment for the month of July and they don't get it in on time. Let's say that they get it in, a few days, a day or two late, whatever. Would they be able to have their comments be put into the packet for August under
Yes.
that proposal? Oh, awesome.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Any discussion on that? Motion? Anyone? If not, Diane, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm not clear what we're voting on at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think there was a motion. I think Commissioner Tease is right.
I stated a motion. Now, so the motion, okay, I'll restate. My motion is that we welcome public comment and want to consider it, but that during the pandemic, we accept email public comment or written public comment. And when receiving this, we will include it on the agenda, attach the written comments to the agenda for any member of the public to view and read if they wish.
Thank you very
Now
much.
that's a motion. And because it was unclear, does anyone wish to discuss that motion on, pro or con?
Well, it's better. I mean, I guess, my view is I really think that public comment should be read under public comment, but it's better than nothing. But I just wanted to just double check. That wouldn't preclude if let's say that someone, had a question on, like either pools or, how we're dealing with the pools or how we're dealing with, let's say how traffic downtown or that sort of thing, that wouldn't preclude a commissioner from reading something during commissioner comment.
No, it would not, because you
Okay.
as a commissioner or any other commissioner can
Okay.
say what you want. I mean, again, we would ask that you exercise discretion in terms of the length of something you're reading, but
Yeah.
no, it would not preclude you, if you feel it's important, from reading something into the record.
All right. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
Yeah.
All right, motion passes. We now have the director's report. You have a report, I assume you do, Director Photo?
I do, and I think it's going to come up, I hope. Here we go. Go to the first slide. We placed hopefully you've all seen this. This looks really great.
Yeah, it's up.
It's up, yes. We put a banner for the class of 2020, who has missed out on just so much. And we've had great feedback. As you can see, all of the our high school logos are on the banner. So that's been very well received on Main Street. Next week, if you haven't been down into Main Street, you should go down and see all the barriers. It doesn't look horrible, and the businesses are very happy, and it's working pretty well so far. We maintain ADA compliance, and traffic seems to be moving along just fine. But that's something that we'll be monitoring very closely. This is a picture of a deteriorated sewer pipe on Vine Street that was replaced by SR West. The next slide on the left is Brock's working on Lake Street, and in the middle on Ald Street. And over to the right is some paving work by Sunshine Paving on Whitford Road. So we've been very, very busy with the paving program and things are going very well. Over 20 members of the Nashua River Paddlers group held their annual waterways cleanup on May 16th, and they removed 2 truckloads of material from the waterways. And we really thank them for their efforts. That's absolutely amazing. This is the Jeff Moran Playground at Roby Park. Our street department paved the pathways, playground pathways, and we also, the grass was loamed and seeded, and the parking lot fence was repaired. This is a picture of the shade sails being installed. If you haven't seen, again, if you haven't been down to see Roby Park, you should. The shade sails really look great. Now, if we could just open the playground. Work on the contracted work, of course, is all done. I think I mentioned last week at the Greeley areas and the parking area are still currently being worked on, and we expect completion in early July. We're doing, Commissioner Pappas actually had asked me about this. We are doing spring cleanup and field treatment. This is, we're fertilizing North Common and cleaning up a softball field. And so we're trying to keep our fields in great condition and hope to be using them soon. But it gives us some time to give them some extra TLC. We had a 20 Arbor Day celebration this year. We decided to plant a tree at each of the high schools in honor, again, of the class of 2020. There were really great events. We had the principals, Dr. Mosley was there, and each of the high school presidents were at each of the events. So we planted a cherry tree at North and a cherry tree at South, and that was a really nice ceremony. Plantings you probably noticed throughout the city. We have really we got a late start to our park and rec work, but they've really hit the ground running, and you'll notice we've planted a lot of flowers throughout the city, and things are really looking great. From May 11th through May 19th, 6 soccer fields at Mine Falls were renovated due to the cancellation of spring sports. Again, as I mentioned, getting a little extra TLC. This is catch basin repair work on West Hollis Street. On the left, on the left is a catch basin repair, and on the right is a manhole repair. Both of the structures were sinking and deteriorating. This is milling on West Hollis Street and Skyline Drive. This is actually work that's being done by our street department. Every year we look at troubled areas and mill and fill in areas that are not currently in the paving program. Our mechanics have been very busy with repairs. What you're seeing here is a motor swap, radiator change, bobcat room attachment repair, and lawn back restoration. This is just a picture of drainage being installed at the bioretention areas of the boat ramp. Our progress continues on our pump station upgrade. This is National Street Pump Station, which is under construction. National Street is part of the phase 1 of the pump station upgrade. All 13 pump stations are scheduled to either be modified or replaced in a 2-phase approach over the next couple of years. Our wet weather facility is having some upgrades finally. We have begun some of the demolition, and this upgrade will replace the screens at the beginning of the wet weather facility. The energy recovery project is also approaching completion. The gas blending skid is pictured on the left, and this allows us to blend natural gas with the methane gas that's produced in the digester and burn the fuel that the highest efficiency level. There, on the right, you just see some finished pipe work and the generator inside the building. We're also a lot going on at wastewater. As you can see, the primary tank upgrades 1 and 2 have been completed, and we've moved to another. And the aeration basin cleaning, each year all the tanks get cleaned. This is one of our aeration basins. We have 4 of them, and each tank holds 990,000 gallons and is over 25 feet deep. So we have to take them offline individually to clean them. And we replaced the drop-off shed for automotive batteries, and they actually built it. So it's great. We're trying to make small improvements at solid waste facility. The other thing I want to just reiterate is that we start taking calls for pickup of oversized items on June 1st, and then we will start picking up the following week. Permits now can be purchased by driving onto the scale and giving your registration to the scale operator, and then pulling off the scale. The permit will be generated and will be brought out to you as you're parked on the side of the scale. Toters, very same thing. Toters, you could call in and give a credit card, and we can either deliver it to you or have it ready for pickup at the solid waste department. Either way, or you may do the same. You may drive up on the scale and pay the scale operator for a toter as well. So those are some other things that are going on. And that's it. Any questions?
Anyone have questions? If not, thank you very much, Director Photo. Now we're on to personnel. Before we begin, as Director Photo and I were discussing this, we would like to take all of the personnel items in open session because we have 2 resignations and 3 hirings, but the information related to the hirings, really, there's no negative information in there about anybody. And the process of trying to conduct a non-public session remotely while turning off the regular meeting and then somehow coming back to the regular meeting, we're not even sure that's possible to execute that. So what we'll do is take all of the personnel items in open session, at least during the pandemic, unless we can come up with some technological fix for that particular problem. So is there a motion on item A?
I'll read A and B because I was unable to print my to print the others. So I will read those 2 motions.
Okay.
To accept the retirement of William Morse, Operator 3 at Wastewater Treatment Facility, effective May 19th, 2019.
Discussion? All those, please call the roll. I'm sorry.
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tees,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
Yes.
Motion passes. Item B.
I move to accept the resignation of Larry Fox, Equipment Operator, effective April 24th, 2020.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tees,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
Yes.
All right, motion passes. I'm sorry, I was looking on to the next section. Now we have the 3 items, the 3 hiring items, A, B, and C.
Can I make one comment, Mr. Mayor? I'm sorry, I missed the vote.
That's okay.
But
Please go ahead.
I wanted to comment, and I would like the director to comment. I had I couldn't find my notes at the moment, but it looks like Mr. Morse had worked for the, in the wastewater treatment facility for 41 years.
He did.
So, I mean, that is a very long time, and it's not, exactly the easiest job. And a lot of people would think it's not a great environment to work in, and that's a long time. And I certainly appreciate his service.
Yes, we certainly do, and that's a loss. He certainly had a lot of institutional knowledge. He was a good employee, very quiet man, but when, never always just did a good job, and was just never very even keeled kind of guy, and he always was there to offer assistance to some of the younger operators without being asked when needed. And it's unfortunate. I think he would have stayed had it not been for this pandemic. So,
And that's understandable.
we're sorry to lose him.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, so let's go to items A, B, and C, the hiring items. Is there a motion on item A?
I would move to approve the selection contingent upon acceptable results of a pre-employment drug test of Mr. Sean Drexel of Nashua, New Hampshire, to the position of wastewater assistant at the wastewater treatment facility. Hourly rate for this position will be $22.41. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, wastewater account classification 51 salaries and wages.
Any discussion, questions? Could you please call the roll?
Mayor Dunches,
Yes?
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
yes,
Motion passes. Item B,
I move to approve the selection of Miss Diane Gay of Fremont, New Hampshire to the position of Operator 2, second shift at the wastewater treatment facility. Hourly rate for this position will be $26.86. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, wastewater account classification 51 salaries and wages.
any questions, comments?
Just to let you know, Mayor and the commissioners, Diane originally was hired as an operator, and she expressed desire to work in the lab. She's been working in the lab and has decided that she wants to go back to being an operator. So,
Okay. Could you please call the roll?
Mayor Dunches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
yes,
Motion passes. Item C,
I move to approve the selection of Gregory Crane of Nashua, New Hampshire to the position of Groundsman 1 at the Parks and Recreation Department. Starting salary for this position will be $21 per hour. Funding is through Department 177 Parks and Recreation, Fund General, account classification 51 salary and wages.
discussion or questions?
I can just say a little bit if you want. Greg has worked for Park and Rec. This is his second summer working as summer help. He's, by all accounts, a great employee, works very hard, takes a lot of pride in his work. I had the opportunity to meet with him. I'm still doing interviews, fortunately not through Zoom or WebEx. I'm meeting with the folks social distancing on the band shell, and that's worked pretty well. And he just a very hardworking guy, and I think he'll be a great asset to the department. So we're pleased to have him.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes.
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman,
Yes.
Now we have commissioners' comments. Well, that motion passed, of course. We have commissioners' comments. Do any of the commissioners have comments?
I do.
Commissioner Pappas?
So, I think that what you have put on Main Street for the graduates is a very good thing. I know my oldest missed is going to miss his college graduation, and my second son has done very well and worked very hard at Nashua North, and these kids have lost a lot. But I think what they have gained is that you're not meeting together because it's going to hurt a good portion of the society. So what they're missing their graduation because that might impact others. Whether it's someone with pre-existing conditions, whether it's someone over the age of 60, whether it's someone in a nursing home. And I think that that's something that they will be able to carry through their life. And one of the things that I know that I know my kids have done really well is doing the social distancing, because they know, I mean, we're older parents, and I do have asthma, so that's considered one of the pre-existing conditions. And they wear a mask to protect others when they're out in public. And one of the things, I got a couple of calls of concerns that, people driving in our trucks weren't wearing masks. And I can appreciate working out in the heat and that sort of thing. It is very difficult. And I know that we did pass an ordinance requiring masks inside businesses, which I think it's terrific. I think that I appreciate all those who are willing to wear masks to protect others. But I think I'm actually going to make a motion that we do require, as a board, that we will require our employees to wear masks in trucks if there's more than one person in the truck. Now, I recognize if we have two people hanging off the back of a soft yard waste truck, that they do not have to wear the mask when they're driving on the back of a truck or picking up soft yard waste. But I think it's really important, number one, for them to keep each other safe, to keep their families safe, and a show of support that we don't want community spread. I would like to do the stopgap measure to make a motion to require that. And after having our presentation with, I think it would be incumbent upon us to come up with, some sort of a disciplinary issue if people are not wearing masks inside trucks, because I think we owe it to the citizens of Nashua. I think we owe it to to families that may be impacted. So I do make that motion for that reason, that we as a board require that our employees wear masks inside trucks when there's more than one employee, which will mean no smoking, because obviously you cannot smoke with a mask on. So I make that motion.
And I assume till further notice is basically the time period you're talking about?
Yes, yeah, absolutely till further motion. And, I probably would have had something more specific, but I would never suggest a disciplinary move for employees without first running it through our legal department. So is a stopgap measure. That's why I'm making that now. Now, as I said, you hate to tell people what to do, but I think as an employer board and as employers, I think we probably have a little bit, more power than just telling, telling your neighbor, hey, you have to wear your mask. So that's why I'm making
I think
that
this
motion.
is the director's policy already, but I certainly support the board
Okay,
reinforcing that with an official motion.
Mayor,
perfect.
Yes.
the only thing I want to just make sure is that um, everybody understands that they cannot wear masks when they're out, when they're doing physical labor outside of the trucks. So this, I think, I think that's what Commissioner Pappas's point is, that while inside the truck, correct,
Right.
Commissioner Pappas? Okay.
Yes.
That's absolutely correct. But I will also say I got a hold of masks that are much less hot and very breathable, and I left one out for the director. I know that we probably already have masks, but these are just very lightweight. You can rinse them out with water and dish soap. They dry like a glove. And I can imagine you're still, even if you've been doing soft yard waste all day, you're probably pretty hot. So you don't wear a hot mask when you. I don't know if our trucks are air conditioned or not. But I would think that masks are only good if people will use them. So I hope that we can get the masks that are the most comfortable we can for the folks who are working outside. And I agree. If someone's working out, mowing, either mowing a lawn by themselves, or if they're, out planting flowers or out, various things outside, not within 6 feet of someone, I certainly wouldn't do that to someone in the summer. Thank you.
All right. Well, the motion made by Commissioner Pappas is to support the director's policy and require that employees wear masks when together, more than one employee inside the cab of a truck, so they're in a confined space in that manner. Any other discussion?
I do have a comment, Mayor.
Commissioner Moriarty.
Commissioner Pappas, to your point, I'm not opposed to this at all. I think it's a great idea, but it's not on the agenda, and I am a stickler for parliamentary procedure as a point of order. So I would rather have it on the agenda.
All right. Well, given that, Commissioner Pappas, I would, I think
Well,
that
I think to wait another month over something like this, I thought we were kind of. I'm sorry, but I thought I was told by the city attorney we really aren't going by parliamentary order anymore. We try to avoid that so that we can get along as a group. And I mean, if it were something that if I didn't get a couple of calls from people saying, listen, they're not wearing masks in trucks, I certainly wouldn't do it unless we had to.
the board by a majority can waive parliamentary procedure basically, but I've heard that from Attorney Bolton many times. But let me ask Director Photo, when we want to hold a special meeting on the pools and stuff, how soon can we do that?
I'll have to just look at your schedule, Mary. That's something, if the board, if everybody's available, we could do it very quickly.
Can we do it next
Well,
week?
But I have a motion on the floor, or I made a motion. So if people want to vote no, they can vote no. I have no problem with people voting no for masks, but that's.
Well, we're only discussing it because there's this issue regarding not being on the agenda. Someone has raised that. But I was just, for a point of information, I'm simply asking, when do you think we can hold this special meeting? And I think the answer is probably next week. But I will allow Attorney Pappas's motion because of a majority vote for it. By implicitly, we're saying that we wish to waive the agenda requirement for this particular issue. So, and I understand the parliamentary point, but we are dealing here with a issue of health and safety. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, oh, excuse me, sorry, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes?
Commissioner Tease,
Yes.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
No.
Commissioner Shoneman,
No.
And I would like it, I think it should be recorded that Commissioner Moriarty was not against, he's not against safety. He's just making the parliamentary point that we should have put it, we shouldn't vote before something's on the agenda. And so that should be, I think, clear. All right, any other commissioners' comments? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Would you please call the roll?
Mayor Donches,
Yes?
Commissioner Tease,
Have a good night.
I take that as a yes.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Pappas,
Yes.
Commissioner Moriarty,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoneman.
Yes.
And the meeting is adjourned. I don't have my phone. Oh, wait, it's adjourned at 7:22. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.